Well, Bart liked to set an example. So he felt that because when you run the hurdles are usually first. So he wanted to make sure that he won his heats and his event to set a tone for the rest of the team. And Bart was so friendly even with my parents. Bart would call my parents and have them bring food for him to the track meets, stuff that I had no idea that he was doing. So my whole family, my mom and my dad and my sisters and all, became infatuated with Bart. So so that's when I say family, it was definitely family. Bart, I would say, as far as community, he's very charitable. He's the kind of guy, if you need somebody to do something for somebody in the community at 3 or 4 in the morning, if it's a drive for sickle cell, if it's a drive for bottles and caps, if it's something political, Bart's a person that he would take charge and he would actually run it. He did the same thing on the track team. He put together a system to generate, they wanted jackets. So he was able to sell candy to get the jackets so they could look a certain way when they went to away meets. He wanted his teammates to have a certain reflection of Fairleigh Dickinson. Well, the program is evolving from whence I first came on campus, and some of my teammates. We've had several world-class athletes that have been part of our heritage and a patrilineage. You would call it a family. So Bart is just an example of some of that wisdom being passed down from my ex-wife and other athletes that are friends of mine and my teammates, talking to him, giving him encouragement, things of that nature. It is now my pleasure to induct Bart Bailey into the FDU Athletics Hall of Fame.
Wow. Thanks, Mike. Half of that was true. So I'm gonna try and make sure I stick to the 5 minutes. And I love the fact that Daniel, and first let me also congratulate my fellow Hall of Famers that are going in this year. And I love the fact that folks were prepared. I'm not. Which is part of why I came to Fairleigh too. So but I'll share with you a few things, and so I'm greeting you, and I think it's appropriate that I do it this way. I stand and I greet you in honor of my grandparents, and that's Helen, Bartow, Wayman, and Eartha, and by way of my mother, Dorothy and Lionel. So I stand here purely because of them. But I want to share a little story about hurdling with you. Mike didn't tell you that when I got here, I was a month early. We were just talking about that. Like, what are you doing here? He thinks security called him and was like, there's some guy here, Bart Bailey, trying to check into his room. Rooms weren't even ready, but I showed up. My parents were ready to drop me off. So I want to share with you that my high school track coach is here, and his wife, Patricia, or Pat. And Fletcher is here because in high school, there was he said, hey, anybody want to run hurdles? And I was a football player. He said, you get to be aggressive, just lean in, you get to punch and lead leg. Oh, I'm like, oh, aggression? Yeah, sign me up for that. But what I'll share with you is about the hurdle. So either you got 5 hurdles, you got 10 hurdles, which are a barrier. And what I want to invite you, while I talk to you for a little bit, is think about the barriers that show up in your life. And many of us fear them and run from them. I'm inviting you to explore, what is this barrier? What is that fear? And the reason why I'm sharing with you this is there's going to be barriers that show up continuously. And many of us run from them. And what I'm asking you and I'm inviting you to do, which I learned through being here at Fairleigh, and I'm glad you brought up Dean Panacucci, amazing person. How can we see each other's humanity when fear gets in the way? And we see it everywhere. So also on the back end, we have Rosemary, who's part of the Board of Governors, and her and I are going to talk about some work that I'm going to be doing here back at Fairleigh. I love Fairleigh so much that I came back for my MBA. I spent time at Roxton. I love Fairleigh. And so it's about the reps though. I literally have a hurdle in my house at Macungie, PA that Fletcher and I took home in high school. He said, continue to practice on the porch, right? I had a little porch. So I'm doing lead leg drills, trail leg drills, nonstop. So I'm gonna bring it back to the fear. How many times have you stepped into the fear to have conversation with folks that see the world differently than you? Fairleigh is a global university. You will come across folks that are different than you. I want you to do that, or I'm inviting you to do that because I have a 20-year-old Ivan that sits here, my 29-year-old, and I want you to see their humanity. And I'm just inviting you to do it, all right? So again, as you lean in and feel the discomfort, I'm asking you to press into it as if it was a hurt. Don't run from it, don't go around it, go through it or over it. The resistance that you feel in your body to do that, welcome the resistance. It's gonna increase your humanity, I guarantee you, guarantee you. So I speak about resistance because it's actually February and I just wanna share something with y'all. February's theme for Black History Month is Black resistance. And I've had conversations with people that get uncomfortable with those words. I'm like, why are you uncomfortable? He said, I don't want to talk about violence. I literally said Black resistance. I didn't say violence. So think about when folks resist, you treating them less than human, and I want you to show up and see my humanity. That's all it is. Nonviolent protest is resistance. Music is resistance. Poetry is resistance. So I'm inviting you to lean in to the hurdle, the barrier that hinders our humanity. So thank you again for this time, and I'll share this last piece because I'm looking at the tables. I lean into resistance a lot, even on vacation. And so my sister Robin and my wife Janina look at me like, okay, you leaning too hard. We're trying to enjoy vacation. Like, what are you doing right now? So then I gotta ease up a little bit. But I do lean in and have conversations with people everywhere. And even my niece will be like, Uncle Bart, so Lake is sitting there, she's like, can you calm down a little bit? She don't even say it, it's just a look. So again, thank you, and it's an honor to be back on campus. And fellow nominees, congratulations.